Now, in the previous lecture, we began with, let's say, authorization, let's say, access. And basically, we have discussed about how we can create logins and users in SQL Server. So we said that if I want to access to SQL Server, first of all, I need to create something called login, okay? And then after creating these logins, I need to create a user under that login. So for example, here, if I go to Mary, for example, then I go for right click, properties, okay, and I go here for the user mapping. You will notice here we have that this login is now mapped to a user called Mary under what? Under Dream Home database. And usually one login can be having what? More than one, let's say, user. For example, that means maybe I can also allow Mary to access, let's say, Film Club database and so on. Okay, so this is the first point here. So after we create the login, we need to ensure that we have what? We have created user. And this is why I mentioned earlier, security here will be on the server level, and security here will be on what? On database level, under the Dream Home database in our case scenario. So when I go here for the users, notice we have, let's say, Alex 123, Ali, Bob, Sam, Mary, and so on, and so on. Okay. Now, after we create this user, I can give him the permissions, or the administrator can give him the permissions. And this is what we have done here. This is what we have done here. So we began to get, let's say, grant permissions from first from admin to different users. Then after that, from the users who have like a grant option to other users. And we have give many grant statements as we have seen earlier. Okay. And then after that, we reach till revoke statement. And at that time, if I go here to tables, let's go for the staff table, properties, then I'll go for like permissions. If you remember earlier when we done the revoke statement, what happens is that Bob, his permissions totally removed. Then Ali was having these permissions remains, which is select and update. For Mary, she will have select or update permission with the grant option. And for Sam, he was having, let's say, select and update permissions and update permissions. Okay. And basically, we use two views to access the, let's say, the permissions. The first one, it will be the object view, like what I have done right now. The second view is the user view. So if I go here for, let's say, the user like Mary, right click, properties. So I will know that she is accessing which objects. For now, she, for example, let's say she is accessing what is staff table, and she can do what? She can update. She can update, let's say, or she has the update permission and so on. Okay, clear till now? Any question before I proceed with the remaining codes? Okay, so far so good. Now let's go for the next command here. Now notice here I said what? I said revoke, then I defined all the commands on the object from Mary. Then we use cascade. Now why we use cascade? We have highlighted this earlier. We use cascade because in case that Mary was given with the grant option, okay, permission. So in this case, this here to ensure that any permission given by Mary to other users will be also revoked. Will be also revoked. Okay. So for example, if I just simply highlight this code without cascade, and I said execute, let me just connect, okay. And let me change the Dream Home. So if I said here, just simply execute, then, okay, for now it could, let's say, happens to be completed successfully, okay. Earlier, no, because earlier we have the permission because Mary was giving these permissions to others. But for now, because there is no permission, Mary give it to others. So in this case, it was executed without any problem. Okay. But otherwise, you will get an error. I need to add what? Need to add the cascade keyword as we have shown it earlier. Okay. Now, next here, the next command is I use or I can use what you call it as revoke all privileges, or I can give a grant all privileges. So the same thing I can say here, revoke all privileges on staff from Mary, Ali, and Sam. Now we said earlier, referring to our case scenario in the previous lecture, when I go here for staff table, notice here Ali, Mary, and Sam, till now they have permissions. So let's assume that I decided to revoke all these permissions. So I can say revoke all privileges. Okay. So let me just highlight once again without cascade. Highlight execute. Notice here, because I mentioned earlier, this once again, because here to revoke or deny grantable privileges, please specify cascade option. So similarly, I will use cascade and let me just execute here. Now notice here for this message. This message says, this is warning message. This is warning message. It says the all permission is deprecated and maintained only for compatibility. What it means here, that when I say all privileges, that doesn't mean literally all privileges. Once again, if I said revoke all privileges, that doesn't really means revoke all privileges. I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, it does not imply all permissions defined on the entity. So let me go here for the properties. Now, first of all, you will not see that anyone can access to the table except the administrator. That means Ali, Sam, and Mary. Notice here, they are not able to access. Okay. Now, to make this more clear, let me just do the following. I will go here to grant this information to Sam. Just I want to show the table. Okay. So I'll go here for the permissions once again. Okay, cancel. Then once again. Now notice here we have different permissions, right? We have alter, we have control, we have delete, insert, references, and so on. When I say all privileges, it will include 5 permissions only. They are select, insert, update, delete, and references. Okay, these are the permissions what will be affected by this keyword, which is all privileges. The other privileges, no, they will remain there. That means if I said, for assumption, assume here I said, okay, we want to have, okay, just let me just highlight all of them, okay? Maybe some of them will not be applied, but let me just check. Okay. Now, if I want to go here for the staff table properties, once again, just to confirm, okay. Now, notice here, when I add some of the permissions, okay, so it is there, as you can see here. Now, when I go to revoke all, see what will happen. So I'll go here, revoke all on a staff from Mary, Ali, and Sam. So, who is the person? Let me just check. Sam, right? So just I would say, okay, revoke all these permissions from Sam. So highlight, execute. Notice here, when I go now to staff table properties, and I go for permissions, okay. Notice here what happens. Alter, control, take ownership, view change track, and view definition, all of these, they were not revoked. The revoked one was basically what? Insert, update, delete, update, and references. Okay? Clear? So revoke all privileges, we revoke only 5 permissions. Clear this point? Any question till now? Any question till now? Okay, now, one of the things that also we can do is grant something called execute for stored procedure. Now, till now we were working on what? On tables, right? But also I have what? Stored procedures, for example. And therefore, I can do what? I can create a stored procedure. I can create a stored procedure. And this stored procedure basically can be, or I can give the user the permission to execute this stored procedure. And this will lead us to one of the security features that I have highlighted earlier. And today I will go to explain it, or I will go to give an example. So let me just show you what was that security feature that we have highlighted earlier, and how we'll go to apply it for today. So let's assume here I want to go to, okay, slides. Let's go to stored procedures. Now, in the topic of stored procedures, we discuss about this one, third point. And at that time, I told you I will go to give you an example when I discuss about permissions in general. Now, notice here, users, referring to this point here, which is related to the stored procedure, users can be granted permission to execute a stored procedure even if they do not have a permission to access the tables or views to which the stored procedure refers. So what that means? Let's assume that Mary, for example, she can access the following tables directly. She have the select permission on the staff table, branch table, and the project for it. Okay. Now, there is one query that she is supposed to execute, and this query include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables. Now, the issue here, depending on the, the authorization matrix that I have, Mary is not allowed to access a client and viewing tables. But now this query, maybe referring to some new requirements or business rules, is now supposed to be what? To be executed by Mary. But the permissions or authorization matrix still now remains same. So one of the ways to go through this issue is that I will go as DBA to create what? A stored procedure. And in that stored procedure, I will go to create a query which join these 5 tables. The one that have the direct permission and the one that don't have the direct permission. Then I will go to give the execute permissions to Mary, and therefore Mary, she will be able to do what? She will be able to execute the query even though she can't access the query directly. Okay. Now what I want to do here, I want to go to give simple example for one table only, and to show you how this works, So let's go here to our code, and let me as administrator, notice here is Abdullah, I want to create a store procedure called SB staff. This store procedure simply doing what? Simply selecting information from staff table, that's all. So highlight, execute. Command completed successfully. So now as administrator, okay, I want just to select the information from the table, just to show you what are the information in the staff table. And also I want to execute the stored procedure. So I would say here what? So I would say here what? Execute SP staff. Execute what? SP staff. Now, as administrator, I can get the information here, and also for sure, as administrator, I can retrieve the information directly by saying select all from staff. Okay, clear? Now, we know that Mary, right now, if I go to check for the properties, we know that for the staff table, Mary is not allowed to access. Let me just revoke even these permissions here from Sam. So now I know there is no user can access to the staff table except the administrator. To prove that, let me connect as Mary and show you how this will work. So I will go here to connect database engine. Now I'll go for SQL Server authentication. Then I'll go here for Mary, and I will say here 1. Now I connected as Mary, right? I will go for databases. Let's go for Dream Home database. I can access to the database, but can I see the tables? The answer is no. And to prove that, if I go here and I say the new query by Mary now, and I said the following, select all from staff, highlight, execute. Notice here, it says sorry, the select permission was denied on the object staff because simply you don't have what the permission. Select the permission, or the select permission. The select permission. Clear? So now Mary don't have direct access to what? To the staff table. Now, what I can do is the following. I can, as administrator, say the following command. Grant execute on SP staff to Mary. So highlight, execute. Now grant execute on SP staff to Mary. Now to view the object or to have, let's say, the user view, let's go for databases. Then after the Dream Home, then we'll go for Mary, right click, properties. Okay. So here we have the securables. Notice here we'll have one of the securables is SP staff, which is stored in procedures. And basically it is what? It is execute. It is execute command for this stored procedure. Now, if I go here to Mary and I said execute SP staff. Okay, if I go for execute SP staff, it will what? Or if I execute this one here. Okay, so that means if I want to go here to execute the stored procedure, what is the result? What is the result? That means I can access to this stored procedure, or simply I will not be able to access to my staff table, which is the content of the stored procedure. Let's see. When say select all from staff, notice here, once again, Mary can't access to staff table. Okay, because she what? She don't have that permission. But when I go for execute SP staff, notice what happens here. It was executed. Why? Because, or simply I was able to retrieve information from the staff table because it is a part of my stored procedure. And I give the permission to execute the stored procedure by DBA. Clear? Clear? Any question for this point? So therefore, one of the security features that SQL Server provides for the stored procedure basically is what? Users can be granted permission to execute a stored procedure, even if they do not have permission to access the tables or views to which the stored procedure refers. Clear till now? Any question? Okay, so far so good. Let me just remove all the permissions once again. Okay, so now all the users, they don't have any permissions till now. They don't have any permissions till now. Now, the last thing that I want to do is the following. The last things I want to do is the following. Now, in many cases, when you are dealing with databases, okay, or softwares in general, we will find that we have a set of users who are having what a similar permissions. For example, all of you as students, you have the same permissions to access to model and, for example, to access, let's say, database security module. So here, the issue will be rather than each time going to give the permissions to each student individually, what we can do, we can create a group, okay? And for example, call that group as database, let's say security, for example, say group. Then after that, I will go to give the permissions to the group, okay? Then after that, I will do what? I will go to assign the users to that group. I'll go to assign the users to that group. So let me show you what I mean by that. Now I will go here, okay, to create a new role called manager, for example. To do that, I'll go here to Dream Home Database, okay, or to view it, I'll go here for the Dream Home Database, security. Notice here the first tab was users, the second one is called roles. Under roles, we have what? We have database roles. And here we have what you call it as the built-in roles. Now, if later if you go to check for this built-in roles, you can just, for example, if you go here for, let me just show you. If you go here for, let's say, Google, and then let's go, you go for like DB, for example, let's say, underscore access, let's say, admin, for assumption. Okay, this is for the database level roles for SQL Server. So if we go to refer this one, here we'll see what are the things that this role allows the user to do. So here, you know, this is like fixed database roles, and here we'll have all the roles which is shown here. Then what each role can do. So you later you can, you know, refer to this roles and see how you can utilize it. Now for us, what we want to do, we want to create our own role. We want to create our own role or our own group. So to do that, I will use the built-in stored procedure called sp underscore, let's say, add role, or you can use the command, okay, by using create role and so on. So I'll say here execute sp underscore add role name, which is equal to manager. Okay, so highlight, then I'll go for execute. So now when I go here and refresh, I will have one new role called what? Called manager, The second thing that I want to do is to grant these permissions to not a user, direct user, no. I will go to grant these permissions to the manager. So let me show you how this works. I'll go here to say grant select insert update on staff to manager. Okay, then I will go for execute. Then I'll go for execute. Now, when I go for the manager here, right click, the properties, then I'll go for securables. Notice here, this group can access now the staff table or the members of this group can access the staff table, and these are their permissions. Next, what I will go to do here is to add users to this role. So after creating the roles, which is what I called it, what is the role name? Manager, okay. I will go to assign to it, let's say, different users. At least here, I will go to assign maybe, let's say, one user, which is called Mary. To do that, also I'll use one of the built-in stored procedures, which is sp underscore add role number. So I'll go for execute sp underscore add role number, add role name equal manager, member name is equal to Mary. So highlight and then execute. Now Mary will go to inherit all the permissions which is under what? Under manager role. Under manager role. So therefore, when I go here for the manager, right click, properties, okay, notice here we have the members of this role will be what? At least for now, we have what? We have Mary. We have Mary, okay? And Mary, that means Mary by definition now can do what? Select, insert, and update. Now, let's go to the staff table. And let me go here to tables, then I'll go for staff, right click, properties. Now notice here, when I go for permissions, it says what? We have manager, this is the staff view, right? We have manager, which is the database role, and this manager role can do the following on the table. So it can have insert, select, and update. Okay. Now, let's go to Mary as a user. Notice here the following. I don't have any permission related to Mary. Why? Why didn't see here any permission related to Mary? Even though now I just added it to the group. Why I can't see the permissions here in this window? It is not granted the user. That means where I can find these permissions. Under role, or if I have this dialog, I need to check for what? I need to check for two things always. Always when I check for permissions, I need to check for two things. First, the securables, that means the direct permissions. Second thing, is he belonging to any group? Now this here for membership, he belongs to what? Or Mary belongs to what? It belongs to manager group. Okay, because I have seen many times students earlier, they were confused because they say, okay, how Mary is able to, for example, let's say go to select information. Assume, for example, she is not allowed to execute the sub procedure. Okay, then I'll go for Mary once again. And I go for, let's say, for membership. sorry, for executables. Executables, she don't have what any permission. So they will view this form only. Then now if I go to Mary and I said, okay, select all from staff, highlight execute, what happens? It can execute the information, so they will be confused. Okay, so always when you check for permissions, you need to check two things for any user. First, the direct privileges which is given to them. Second thing, are they a member of a specific role? Okay, so here, okay, they are, as let's say, they are a member of, let's say, manager. So later I'll go to check for the manager role and see what are the permissions that he have. Okay, clear? Any question? Any question till now? So by this, we have covered what? Authorization access to referring to our DC database security module. And for sure, we have at least one or two questions in your assignment, which is covering this component, Now, I will give you a break for 15 minutes, okay? Then at 3 o'clock, we'll meet once again. And I want to give you the assignment. I want to give you the tutorial question. Okay, so you can, let's say, create the, apply the queries and so on. So as usual, also, just remind me, I want to determine the submission or assignment submission date. So after 15 minutes, just I will go here. Then we'll go to discuss about what? We will go discuss about the due date of your assignment. Most likely it will be the 25th of October. Okay, now what is? Sir, can you upload the script? Sure. Let me just, okay, go here for Teams, DBS, then Files, then Dream Home. Okay. Run to Revoke. Okay, this one. So here we go. And also let me just confirm if the tutorial is there. Okay, triggers. Okay, authorization. By the way, I think I missed this. Okay, so most likely I'll give you this tutorial first, or the opposite. Okay, because I give you the topic for database auditing, but I don't remember if I give you the tutorial question. So later we can access to this tutorial once again. But for now, just I will follow up with the class. So I need from you to do tutorial number 7. Tutorial number 7. Okay, so let me just explain tutorial so later I can follow up with you. So tutorial number 7, database security, you need to basically apply these statements on Film Club database. I will assume that you have Film Club database, right? Because I asked you to create it earlier. So just simply now, you need to create either logins or users or giving, let's say, permissions, and so on and so on. Okay, clear? Sir, can we make it at 29 October? Let me discuss about this after the break. So I will see what I can do. And then after that, we fix the submission date. We fix the clear. It is not confirmed till now. This year, yes, I am highlighting that this is the last date of your coursework, right? Of your subject. So now break for like 50 minutes. Then after that, we'll go to discuss about what? About the, you know, the assignment. When is the due date? So see you after 15 minutes. Hi, good afternoon once again. Okay, so okay, attention please. Now for the assignment question or for the assignment submission date. Okay, so let me just make it on, okay, 29th will be okay. 29th will be okay. So confirm. So that means um, assignment due date will be okay 29 October 2021. Okay. Also, I want to ask: is there an issue about the groups? Okay. Just I want to confirm. Most welcome. Most welcome. Strange. Okay. I think the groups are okay, except this student. Ye Hautian. Is he still in the DBS class? Because I think all the others have already, okay, get their groups. I think it is complete except Ye, are you there? Or is this student in the class in first place? I'm not sure if he's in the class or not. He is not yourself. Okay. So for now, we'll say X. Okay, so now basically the groups are complete. Let me just sort them. So it's okay. That means now everything is group number ascending. Okay. So it goes. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so for the tutorial question, I just already told you how to access to it. Okay, So the time now is, let's say, 3:15. So I will go to check some of the commands after maybe like half an hour. I think this is like the commands here are direct forward. But please, if you have any issue, especially for the first time, when you try to log into SQL Server, most likely you will face a problem if this is the first time, especially after you create the first login and you try to access. If you face this problem, please send me a message on here in the chat box. I'll go to show you how to resolve that. Otherwise, just simply I will assume no one faced that the problem and everything is moving smoothly. Okay, clear? Okay. Hi. Any question about tutorial till now? How do you log in as user? After you create the login here, okay, then you need to go to connect database engine. Then here on the server name, it will remains the same, but for authentication, now you are using what? Windows authentication, right? So I'll go to choose SQL Server authentication. And here you need to provide the username or the login name and also the password. Now, in case you face a problem, that means you try to log in and you get an error, after you execute this command, please if anyone, let's say create the login, then they try to use SQL Server authentication, then they get an error, please write it down here in the chat box. So I will go to show you what is the solution to solve that. Login failed and so on. Okay, so attention please. I think most likely the majority of you will face this problem. Now, what happens most likely is that you create a user, maybe called John in our tutorial, right? So here you write John, then you put the password, and when you try to connect, you get this error. That means you are not able to log in. You are not able to log in. The reason for that is one of the configurations that when you install SQL Server, you choose the default configuration. So let me show you how to change that. Now, first of all, you log in as administrator. In my case, it is Abdullah, as you can see here. Then you will go for right-click, okay, on the server here. Then properties. And then here, I will go to check on security, or I'll go to click on what? Security. Now, in your case, you will find that the first one is selected, which is what? Windows authentication mode. So notice here, Windows authentication mode, it will be the one which is the selected on your device most likely, because this is the first time. And most likely we didn't modify it to make it a SQL Server and Windows authentication mode. Okay, so what you need to do simply, since this is the selection here, you will go for SQL Server and Windows authentication mode. Okay, then I will go for okay. Now till now, it is not activated, and this is very important point, because a lot of students, they will choose that option, they will assume, oh, it is working. No, till now it is not activated. Even if you close the database management system or the SQL Server Management Studio and you open it, it will not work. What you need to do, you need to start the service. The easiest way, I will go here to the server, okay, right-click, then I will go here for restart. So if I click here on restart, you will get, this message. Do you want to restart this service? Yes. Then do you want to restart this one? Yes. Then this now is restarting the service. Or you can go for services. Let me just restart the service. Now, after you start the service, you'll go for connect, database engine. You'll choose SQL Server authentication. You will add the John, right? And here you will add the password. Okay. The other way, if you don't want to go from here, you go from what? Services. And here in the services, you'll search for SQL Server. So this is the service. Now the first instance usually is called MS SQL Server. So I'll go for this one, right-click, then I'll do what? I will do restart. It will work. Okay. Now the easiest way, as I mentioned earlier, just you can go from here on the server, then I can do restart. Okay, clear? Please try it and confirm if it works with you. Okay, awesome. Okay, good. So why no one informed me about this earlier? Okay. Now let's assume, okay, let's go, I will go fast here because I explained, so I can just repeat it once again. Now you create the login, okay? Then you try to go to connect database engine, you choose SQL Server authentication, you provide the credentials, in your case it will be John, and the password that I have added, okay? You try to connect, it will give you get an error message. To do, now what you need to do is you cancel this dialog, then you will go for the server here, okay? Right click, then I'll go for what? Restart. So just click on restart and click on all the dialogues that will appear. Yes, yes, yes. Like now, just I'll say restart. Do you want to restart? Yes. Do you want this one? Yes. Now it is restarting the service. Then what you will do next? You will log in using the user credentials. That means for now, I'm using what? I'm using Abdullah as administrator, right? For you will go to do connect database engine once again, then SQL Server authentication. You will go to add John, then you add the password. Then you add the password, and it's supposed to work. Okay, most welcome, most welcome. Okay, so let me take the attendance. And please just complete the codes. If you have any question, you can, send me the answers to basically check it. And if something may be not clear and so on, you can just, ask me to check it once again. So let me just go here for the, okay, timetable. Then let's go for
Sir Abdullah?
yes.
Yeah, I'm Michael here.
Okay.
I'm having a problem with switching on my phone suddenly.
Okay.
Can you mark my attendance?
Okay, sure, no problem.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Just wait for 1 minute. So just I will go to tell the students just their mark their attendance. Then I will go to mark yours.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just wait for 1 minute.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I have a question regarding the assignment.
Okay.
So, if we wanted to do some referencing on the assignment, which reference
Okay.
are we going to use, APA or Harvard?
In reality, now there is a debate in ABU.
Yeah, that's why.
So, so usually for the assignment, just simply I will accept either one. Usually in FYB, we focus on what the type of referencing, but in the assignment, not really till now. So anyone that you are familiar with, just you can use, okay?
So we can use either both lah.
Yes, yes. Till now, there is no confirmation about which one to use on either sides, either FYB or I think at the last meeting they said ABA is supposed to be the one that to be used in the FYB, but for the assignment they didn't really emphasize. So for me, just you can choose any one. Okay.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Most welcome. Most welcome. Okay, so let's go here. Now, anyone who was not able to attend, check the
Michael.
attendance. Michael
Yeah.
Leonardo, right? Okay.
Yeah, Michael Leonardi. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Most welcome, most welcome. Anyone else? Anyone else? So that's all for today. See you next week or next lecture. Let me see. Most welcome, most welcome.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Have a good day. And take care. Most welcome, most welcome. Okay, so see you next week. Assalamu alaikum. Just to confirm, once again, the submission is on 29th of October. Okay. So that's all for today. Assalamu alaikum.